Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Parrique. I'm here because I like economics, obviously. Because I think it's an interesting topic. Economics, as you know, or may not know, is the economic study of the economy, made by economists most of the time, although that's a debated issue in the field. Anyway, I'll start by telling you briefly about the etymology of the word economy. That's going to take the first 30 minutes. Have you ever felt like you're wasting your time in a classroom? You know that feeling? Feeling like you've been dragged so deep into boredom that you barely remember why you came here to study in the first place. Can I have a raise of hand? Was I ever felt that sitting in a classroom was a waste of time? This is what I was afraid of. It isn't just a few isolated cases, isn't it? It's a whole pandemic, like in World War Z. Have you guys seen World War Z?
Yes.
Okay, great movie. For those who haven't, it's a typical zombie film. All right? But more than just being a zombie film, and like many zombie films, it's also an interesting critique of some aspect of modernity. And I think that this critique applies very well to our dear university. So you see, a zombie film is always divided into different stages, right? Most of the time it starts with stage 1, when you think that everything is going to be fine. And for that, I want you to remember your first day at university. First day at university. Walk on the street. University. Smile to the ears, stars in your eyes, heart beating with excitement. University! Suddenly, you feel like everything is possible. Every single one of us feels like the next Einstein, the next Da Vinci, the next Vandana Shiva. You just feel limitless. It's amazing. Then comes stage 2, the contagion. It may start with a slightly non-interesting lecture, or a bit too much of the same readings, you know? Or just the absolute absence of any meaningful discussion or learning. But slowly, as we get started to satisfy ourselves with a mediocre fulfillment associated with an effective retention of fact, Adam Smith, 1723, 1790, our naive hope about what we can achieve at university is being shattered into a million pieces. We start to get used to be a passive consumer of knowledge, swallowing an endless flow of fact, to vomit it back in a multiple choice questionnaire at the end of the term. Our brain gets used also to instinctively light up, most of the time once a day, to ask with a voice trembling with fear, "Sir, is it going to be on the test?" It's not the case, is it? We accept the systematic repression of our creativity and actually start believing that imagination must be a hobby reserved for kids, Google's employees, and the writers of Game of Thrones. When we have realized this, it's already too late. We've come to stage 3, the final stage, the epidemic. We've turned into a swarm of dull minds, staggering pointlessly from classroom to classroom. We gave up our identity, our creativity, our passion, in order to become passive consuming unit, standardized and efficient, hungry for factual flesh, feeding on credits. The first one contaminated were the economics students. This is not surprising. The title, Econ 101, already sounds like a deadly virus. But what happened? What's wrong with the current way we teach economics at university? Well, first let's start with the theory. And let's say it loud and clear. In terms of content, economics education borders indoctrination. There is no diversity of ideas, and the content has not moved since Paul Samuelson last sneezed. The world is changing, but the curriculum is not. So my question would be the following. How are we expected to solve today's crisis by being educated in the same way that allowed those issues to happen in the first place? Financial crisis of 2008. Or rather, the failure of economists to foresee and propose solutions to the financial crisis of 2008 revealed this deep crisis of imagination, and as famously put by Slovenian philosopher Slavoj Žižek, it is easier to imagine the end of the world than it is to imagine the end of capitalism. Žižek's got a point there. Zombie coming back from the dead to extinguish humanity? Yeah, I can imagine. A giant meteor plunging Earth into darkness? Yeah, I can imagine. But a degrowth economy, an economy where everybody would be entitled to an unconditional income, an economy where you could create your own currency. This just goes beyond social science fiction for most economists. And this is a problem. We need to fix our ability to imagine alternative economic futures. And this starts right here in the classroom, which brings me to another problem with the way we currently teach economics at university. Pedagogy, okay? Economics education is burdened by medieval pedagogy. Because you see, it does not matter how good your content is if you're failing on the form. But maybe that's not clear enough. You know, for our colleague economists to understand, I think I will put that into a nice equation. You take a male professor with beard, plus a textbook, the older the better, plus a blackboard. And you get the almighty education. Fantastic. But in many cases, if not most cases, this does not hold true. You know it, I know it, probably everybody knows it except this guy. Meaningful learning does not trickle down from a textbook like manna from heaven. It takes time, it takes effort, it requires creativity and courage, and more than anything, a diversity of tools and techniques if we want to go beyond the traditional lecture format. So, a bit of philosophical pondering for a university teacher. If a teacher speaks somewhere in a classroom and no one around is learning, can we call it education? That's a tough one. We'll reflect on that during the semester. Okay, finally, the disciplinary framework being taught is way too rigid. In the process of formalizing economics, we lost half the meaning of what it meant to do economics. We disconnected two disciplines that in essence could not be approached independently. Economics and philosophy. Economics became this rational and practical guideline for an efficient life in time of scarcity, when it was at first nothing less than the moral science of choice. And this is why, for me, the fundamental question of economics is not how, but why. Why? What a fantastic question. Why? You know, why is the mother of all questions? And one of the best educators of all time, the Greek philosopher Socrates, used to spend his life asking this simple question over and over. Why? 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 I mean, let's start with this one. Why are we here? Why do we spend about 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 32 weeks a year, 5 years or more of our life at university? Why is that? Why is that? I won't satisfy myself with an answer like, to get credit, to get a diploma. I won't satisfy myself with an answer like, to get a job. And I will sure not satisfy myself with an answer like, I don't know, because we can. You see, I have a dream. I have a dream where we will decolonize our imaginary of education. A dream where we would start seeing the university as a true factory for wisdom, as a safe haven for imagination. The university as the ultimate safeguard against the tyranny of conformity. And dear class, this dream starts today. This dream starts in this very single room, with every single one of you getting ready to think critically, getting ready to think dangerously. Socrates himself believed that this critical thinking was the true essence of education. So he was asking the question, why? So the big question is, was it teaching? Was it education? If you ask me, not directly, more than transferring knowledge, Socrates was inspiring a craving for it. And well, I think that we, course coordinators, are here to do exactly the same. Create an atmosphere in which you wish to learn. So, you should see us as conscientious gardeners, making all the resources available for your intellectual progress available and efficiently usable. So for that, I invite you to see the lectures, course reader, the compendium as a nutrient-rich soil. See the workshops, the seminars, the debate as stimulating wind and water flow. See the examinations as transformative mechanisms of pollination. And see us, course coordinators, as a propellant sun bringing passion and inspiration. Only that. But more seriously, our decision to teach the class includes a commitment to offer sessions worth attending. The decision to take the course is yours. But once you make the decision, you have a responsibility to everybody else in the course. Because you're not going to receive knowledge, we're going to construct knowledge. Together, as a team, as a collective mind. And the strength of our collective brain will depend on the level of dedication of every single one of you. You, every single one of you. So, time to decide. Today is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want with it. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland, and I'll show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. You will have plenty of time to decide. But for now, I shall conclude my speech. as the leader of a course, but as a citizen of humanity. We're faced today with the very gravest of challenges. The Bible calls this day Armageddon, the end of all things. And yet, for the first time in the history of the planet, a species has the technology to prevent its own extinction. Dreams of an entire planet are focused tonight on those 63 brave souls traveling into the twists and turns of the global economy. And to help you in this dangerous journey, here I am. I stand